Hi, Stephen Johnson here. Welcome to part 2 for planning your next backpacking trip. If you missed part 1, I highly recommend you go back and take a look at it. In part 1, I covered how to plan each of the days for your trip, what your days are going to look like. And now in part 2, I want to talk about adding points of interest into your trip, organizing your data, and then sharing that data with all your friends so you can all have the same information and the same data for the trip that you're going on. So once I've outlined each of the days for my trips, and I know where I'm going to go, how long each day is going to be, I'm going to start adding in waypoints for the points of interest along each of the trails. These waypoints will be where our campsites are going to be. I'll drop waypoints for where we might find water. I'll also add waypoints for possible lunch breaks and clearings and other areas that we might want to take a look at. So here's an example. The first day we're going to be hiking up Katy Ridge. So I've found an area on Katy Ridge that I think might be a good spot for lunch. So I'm going to drop a waypoint at this location. To drop the waypoint, I simply hold my finger on top of the map. You'll get a nice little crosshair. Move that crosshair to exactly where you want to drop the waypoint. Tap on Add Waypoint. Now I can give that waypoint a name, and I can also give it my own icon. When you drop waypoints on the map, if you have Topo Maps Plus Pro, Topo Maps Plus will automatically analyze your trails and segment it based upon your points of interest. When you select the trail, you can tap on the list icon. This list icon will give you all the segments on that trail, the distances between each segment, and the elevations between those. When you're out hiking, when your current location is on that trail, you'll also be able to see the relative distances to your current location. So when I'm out hiking on Katy Ridge Trail, I'll be able to see from my current location how far I have to go until I hit my lunch break, until I hit campsite. This tells me not only how far I've come, but also how far I have left to go. The next thing you want to do is organize all of your data with a tag. You can think of a tag very much like a folder or a category. The first thing we're going to do is create a new tag in the app. You can do that from My Data under Tags. We'll give that tag a name. We're going to give the tag a name for the trip that we're going on. You can also select a photo for that tag. If you have your own photo, you can pick a photo from your photo library. Once you've created the tag, we need to start adding data into it. I can select each piece of data on the map and add it to this tag. Alternately, I can go to the tag. When I go to the tag, I can add data to the tag directly from there as well. Once I get all the data added into the tag, I can organize it and put it in the right order that I want it to appear in. So I might want to have day 1 come first, then day 2, then day 3. I might want to have all my campsites first and then the trails, or I might want to intermix them, just depending upon how I want to have that data organized. Now that I've got all my data in there, I've got the trails for each of the days, I've got all my points of interest in there, I've got them all categorized with the tag, I want to make sure that all that information is synced. Topo Maps Plus will automatically sync your data while you're using the app if you're on Wi-Fi. It won't automatically sync your data when you're not on Wi-Fi because Topo Maps Plus does not want to use your battery when you might not be at home. It wants to make sure that when you're out hiking, it's using as little battery as possible so that you can get the most lifetime out of your phone while you're out. But if you've been on Wi-Fi, it will be doing a sync automatically in the background. But you can go to My Data and check and see if everything's been synced. And if it hasn't, just tap on sync. It'll do a sync of all your data. When your data syncs, it makes a backup of all your data on our servers. And that data is also made available to all of your other devices. This way your data is safe, and in case you lose your phone or have other problems, your data is set and ready to go. The next thing I do is I then share that data with my friends. In Topo Maps Plus, you can generate a sharing URL. And if you do this for the tag that you created, that sharing URL will share everything in that tag with your friends. Your friends will be able to import all of the data that you created with all the attributes into Topo Maps Plus. They will also have the ability to export that data into the 2 most common file formats that other mapping applications use. A file format called KML that Google Earth uses, and a file format called GPX. Both of these file formats are used by almost all mapping applications, so even if your friends are not using Topo Maps Plus, they can still use that data in whatever application they are using. The nice thing about sharing your tag with your friends is if you have to go back and update information, you go back and realize we need to change a trail for one of the days or a campsite, you can update that information. When that information syncs, that sharing URL will be automatically updated, and your friends can then import that data from that same URL that you've already generated. So once you've shared the data with your friends and you're all set and ready to go, you're going to need to download the maps before you head out. When you download maps, you download them to your device so that you do not need an internet connection to view those maps. That way, when you're actually out on the trail, the trails, the maps, and your GPS will all work without an internet signal. You can be offline, days away from the nearest cell tower, and have access to GPS, your maps, and all the trail and information that you have created. Now there's one final piece that you're going to need to do before you head out, and I'm going to cover that in the next video. The next video is going to talk about printing maps and using those maps to navigate. It's not wise to rely solely on your iPhone and technology to get you out of the backcountry. So you need to make sure that you understand the concept of how to use a paper map and how to safely navigate in the backcountry. In Topo Maps Plus, you can easily print out a map even if you have not upgraded to Pro. The print map capabilities work in the free version of the app, and they print out really good, high quality maps so that you can navigate the backcountry safely.